Hey folks, welcome to another lecture. And in the previous video, we have made a simple site navigation where we use server actions to fetch the data. And in this video, what I am targeting is that we'll start creating the components and various stuffs. So firstly, what we have to do is we are fetching the data and we are just iterating over the data and rendering titles. This title, however, should be a component called as Sidenav item. So I'll create a new component file and I'll call this as sidenav item.tsx, and I'll just quickly rafce into it and remove stuffs from over here and control D to change the name sidenav item. This is okay. And again, this is not going to be a default export but a named export, and this item would receive some props, and I'm going to extract it something like this. We destructure the props, and what I'm expecting over here is that I am going to get the ID, the title, these two stuffs, and I am rendering the title over here. Okay. Why do we need IDs? We need IDs. So if you look the current application, based on the ID of the URL, we are highlighting the particular project. So this is what I am also targeting. So we need to check that if the current URL is of the exact ID of this site nav, then we have to highlight it. So that is the main reason I am extracting it, but we'll utilize this part later. And over here I am just rendering site nav item, and we can import it. I add a key as board.id. okay, and title as board.title, and ID as board.id. okay, we have got these stuffs. We have got the item, navigation item. This is again a server component. Okay, now if we come back, so nothing much has changed. It is pretty much still the same. Yes, it is still looking the same. Now what I am aiming right now is we'll start focusing on the UI. So let me grab some styles and paste it over here. Okay, does this? Yeah, it makes a little bit better. And I have to add it already has a padding top, so it should not be that much difficult. So the Z indexes are, I think, colliding. So if I change Z index to 1, so it looks a little bit better. So bg nav bg, so this is on the bg nav bg. So over here, let us search where it is. bg nav bg has to be of Z index 1. okay, yeah, so Z index 1, you can see that the collapse is gone, and this particular thing is taking some height. Let me check height 100%, and this should be good. So height, calculate, it is subtracting something and removing it. So if we remove PET16, then how exactly? So the content is gone, so we need this. And what if we use come back, instead of PET16, if I use empty16, will that help? Yes, I think this helps a lot. And if I remove the Z index now, it is not affecting much, okay, because it is fixed over here. And the height is going to be somewhere approx a little bit up and down. So the height of this particular navigation is 60 pixels. Okay, so the height of this navigation menu is 60 pixels. So over here I'll just change it to 100 VH minus 60 pixels, and I think it should make much sense and it should look good. Yes, it is looking a lot better. Then we have MT16. Can we use MT 15 or something? Let's see. MT15 I think doesn't exist, so that is why it is causing some problems. Okay, or maybe I can use my own MT60 pixels. Yep, MT60 pixels worked just fine. So we have this side nav bar, and we have to style the items. Okay, so to style the items, we have a really good styles. So let me add a style class name, and yep, this looks a lot better. Okay, so we have Springboard journey, new projects, and now we have to add the logic, and something is missing. Yeah, we are missing the separators. So if you go to Redux UI separator, so you see these lines, okay, these are separators. So that is what I need. So I'll just hit yarn install Redux UI / React separator. It is a really cool component. So head over to over here. Do we need Prisma Studio? Yeah, we need it later, but not right now. So I'll hit yarn add Redux UI React separator. The moment it is done, we are good to use. And how exactly can we use is that firstly I'll have to, so to use a separator, firstly I'll create a file called Sidenav separator.tsx RAFCE, or let me just quickly grab the component. Okay, I just have this handy. So we have imported the separator from React separator, and I have given some styles. You can check it later. Now I just have to use this separator inside my Sidenav over here. Okay, so after each Sidenav item, I have to render a separator. Since we can only return one single JSX, so I'll wrap this inside a fragment, and then I'll import a separator from my Sidenav separator. Okay, let's save this and see if it is looking good. Yep, so we can see this fine lines, white lines, they are looking awesome. So we have got our side navigation, and what we have to now do is inside side nav item, we have to highlight the text based on the route. So do we have this particular route? So let's get rid of API. Let's get rid of actions. So we have not created any other route apart from the home route, that is slash. So inside app, I'll create one more route called it as board. Okay, so it would be board. Then inside board we have ID, so I'll call this as board ID, and a new file called as page.tsx. Now I will RAFCE into it. Get rid of this and name it as board page. Okay, this is rendering board page. It is fine. Okay, this is fine. Now let's come back to this part, and whenever a route changes, we have to check the board ID. That is what we want. So to do that, we have something really interesting called as use path name. So I'll firstly say, and since this will eventually become a client component. Okay, why client component? Because now we are dealing with routes. So const path equals to use path name. Okay, this is coming from Next.js only, and I am going to fetch the board path. But before that, let me just console log the path for you. Okay, you just visualize what is happening. So everything is compiled. Okay, everything is looking good. Let us refresh. And yep, now if I do something like slash board slash some random ID, if I hit enter, so see, let us see. Now this is the log which we are seeing from the Sidenav. Okay, so this particular hook use path name lets you get the path after your domain. Okay, so I get board slash the board ID. Now to extract the board ID from the route, it is really very easy. Const board ID would be path dot split it from slash. Okay, and we have 1 slash 2 slashes. So at the first index we have nothing. At the first index, sorry, at the 0th index we have nothing. At the first index we have board, and at the second index we will have the ID. So this would be slash 2. Okay, this is the board ID, and we have to combine the class names. There is a really cool package. I think I have already used many times in the Next.js project on YouTube, which is class names. I really like this package. Okay, this package really helps you combine classes, and it is really very easy to use. Okay, so I'll just straightforward use it. So yarn add class names. Meanwhile it is installed, I'll import it over here. Import cx from class names, and we are going to, if the board ID matches, okay, we have this ID, we have the board ID from URL. If the board ID matches, we are going to highlight a particular board. Okay, that is what I want. So we are going to do something like cx. Okay, and over here we are going to apply some styles. The style is really very simple and it is very easy. So if we are going to apply this class bgblue 800 if board ID is equals to ID. Okay, simple as that. Save this, come back to the application, and right now the ID is not matching. It will not. So I'll just use one ID from the database, and I'll replace this and hit enter, and let's see if it is working. Yep, so this particular board just got highlighted. So we have this really cool function working. We have a client component inside, and let me also write some interface. Sidenav item interface. Okay, so it is using ID string title, oops, as string. Save this. Let me give this like this. So we have a really cool Sidenav item working on us for us. We can remove the console log, and upon clicking on the Sidenav, we should be able to jump to a particular board. Okay, so on click of this, I think it's really easy now. On click of this, I have to reroute. Okay, so I have to reroute. So when it comes to rerouting other stuffs, we have to use router. So use router, and on click of this, what I'm going to do, I just have to do router.push and router.push slash board slash, and over here we are going to pass the ID. Simple. And we can remove this log. We don't need this. We don't need logs over here, and I think we are all set. So yep, next router was not mounted. Okay, we have some error. Okay, some error was there. Let me see. Yeah, this use router should be coming from next navigation, not from over here. And I think this should work now. Yep, so this is okay. This is okay. You can see the URLs are changing. So this is working really good. Now, what's the next thing that is missing? Let's think. So right now this should not work if I am not logged in. Okay, so currently I think I'm logged in, that is why I'm seeing this. But if I'm not logged in, what should happen is ideally this side nav should not come. Okay, makes sense. So what exactly can be the workaround on this? So firstly, if I load my home page, in the layout, this Sidenav component gets loaded automatically. That's one thing. Okay, I understood. Then as soon as this gets loaded, this server actions get triggered automatically. Okay, that is also fine. So do we really want to fire this? Do we really want to fire this call over here? No, this is not what we want. Then how exactly are we going to fix? So we can do a session check over here. Do something like we are going to fetch status and use session from next auth. Okay, and if status equals to loading or status, or simple as that, if status is not equals to authenticated, my friend return this. Okay, if not, we have to return, okay, like this. Okay, let us React context is, okay, yeah. So this, now we have another problem, that this particular custom hook makes it a client component and not a server component. Now there is a issue. Okay, then how can we fix this? How can we avoid making this network call, this query? Is there a way? Then we have this would not work. Okay, this would not work. There has to be some another way. Okay, so let us go ahead to next auth server. Okay, get started. We have a REST API, we have client API. Are we interested in client API? Not really. Get providers, get CSRF token, get session. Okay, get server session. Okay, so over here you can create a helper function, so you don't need to pass auth options around. import type, this is this config, rest of your config. You'll need to import and pass this to next auth in route.ts. Okay, we have already set this up, and use it in server contexts. Okay, get server session. When calling this from server side, route handlers, React server components API or get server, we recommend using this function instead of get session to retrieve session object. Okay, so maybe we can use this. Okay, what do we need to pass? Okay, we create a helper so that we don't have to pass the config every time. Makes sense. Okay, so let's try to implement this. Let's open our next auth. So API auth, and this is one thing. Okay, only a handler can be exported. Okay, we have the auth options over here. Okay, and what is this? This is a auth. So I think maybe we can use libs over here. Auth, yeah, over here I think this is the best place. Use it in server components. And what are the things? They are importing types, next auth options. Okay, so I'll copy this part. I'll paste the types over here. Most of the errors are gone. Get server session is not imported. Get server session is imported from next auth, next, beside next options. We have a config. Instead of config, I have to pass auth options and export function auth. Okay, so this is looking good. Now over here, since we are inside a server component, where was it? Yeah, over here. Now let us check what this thing will give us. Okay, so will it give it status? Let's see. Auth. Okay, does not exist. Is it a promise? But this is just a function now. Get server actions extends. Okay, it returns a promise, so I have to await. And now what is saying? Status does not exist on type, session or null. Okay, so we are getting some value, so I'll call this as session. Okay, I'll console log session over here, and let us see if we are getting that. Okay, we are getting the user data. Okay, we are getting the user data. What if come back to the application, what if I remove all my data? Okay, I think there is some bug. Clear site data. Okay, now if I refresh, now see, you can see it is null. See, it is null. So I think we are very much clear now. So if there is no session, if not session, please return with JSX, and we can get rid of use session. Simple. Okay, so let's refresh. Nothing is coming. Hit login, sign in with Google, and yeah, awesome. This looks much better, much cleaner and much better. And yeah, we can see the image also. Yeah, this is looking amazing. Now what's missing? And yeah, okay, you can see that this is looking it like this. This will get removed once we introduce sliders from the like Redux UI. What I'm talking about is, if you click on this, a slider comes, right? We are going to implement this. This is looking very nice. Okay, But before that, let us quickly go back and see what we have done. See, majorly we didn't know a fancy item, no rocket science. We worked heavily on the this Sidenav item where we just rendered the text. We used this path name to get the exact URL after our domain, and we grabbed the board ID, and using this board ID we are checking that if the ID is matching board ID, then please highlight. If this is not the case, otherwise don't highlight, and on the click of it we are just doing a simple router push. And another main thing was that this navigation, this side nav only has to be present when when the user is logged in. Okay, so we tried using this use session, but eventually we realized that it is not possible. Why? Because use session works on client, and since this side nav is a server component, we really didn't have any much ways. We then went to the documentation, and on the documentation we got to know about this auth we just created. Okay, we created this function from the document which returns a server session with the all the options. We just had to await it over here. We get the session, and if the session was not present, all we have to do was return fragments. Okay, then we saved making any network call. So this was a really great optimization. In the next part, I'll work on the mobile drawer, which we have, which we can see. But right now, let's firstly create a PR. Okay, create new branch, feature slash sidebar, yeah, sidebar or side nav, whatever you want to call it. And before that, let me kill all the tasks and hit a yarn build just to make sure that nothing would break on creating a pull request. Yeah, this is a really good way to check if something would fail on production before raising a PR. And yeah, this is looking good. So I am just going to add my changes. Create side nav. Commit my changes. Push this. Come back. Open GitHub. Next.js Yatra clone. Compile pull request. Master. Create pull request. And let's just quickly fast forward. Alright, we are all green. So let's quickly squash and merge. And boom, we just merged another PR. So far we merged 14 PRs, and this looks really promising. And what else? Yeah, this was all in this particular lecture. I'll see you guys in the next one.